Who is in the best 23 for the Gold Coast Suns this year? The Zero Hanger team have made their calls. We're going to go through it line by line. But before we do that, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, especially if you're new here. We do footy content a lot. We've got plenty coming out this year. But for now, let's get to the Gold Coast Suns. But before we get into it, don't forget that ZeroHanger.com is the #1 independent AFL news source for all your AFL news, trades, draft content, and now games. Check out our latest game, AFL Streakr. Test out your footy stats knowledge and see if you can get your name on the leaderboard. All right, here to break down the Gold Coast Suns best 23 of the 2025 AFL reporter, Aidan Cellini. How are you, mate?
Good. I appreciated the accent on that one. It was nice.
No worries. I thought I'd throw that in there. So, Gold Coast, amazing list on paper, but now or never really for them. They should be making the 8 this year.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be the narrative since they almost started in 2011. They brought in the Messiah, Damien Hardwick, in at the beginning of 2024, so he's got 12 months under his belt. Yes, it might be a bit difficult last year to make finals, but this just has to be the year. They went all in on their trade and draft acquisitions as well. As you mentioned, they've got a lot of talent on paper, but hopefully they can just get it done on field.
Yep, absolutely. Keen to get into this one, so let's do it. All right, so an interesting backline we have named Mac Andrews, Sam Collins, Bodie Hewland, and then on the halfback, Daniel Rioli, Charlie Ballard, and Sam Flanders. So we're going to start with Mac Andrews, one of the craziest contracts in the AFL at the moment. Worth it? I think so.
The potential, yeah. I think he's shown in his very early career thus far that he can play at all ends. He's a unicorn of sorts, which I think the Suns have a couple of those on their list. But Mac Andrews definitely tops them. He will start in the back line for us. I think we just see him better behind the ball at the moment. But again, he's still got the capabilities of going up forward, kicking match-winning goals and taking marks that you can't see many other players do. And then also probably has the potential to go into the midfield as a ruckman as well, or just a crazy on-baller because he's got that much potential, which is no shock why the Suns signed him to that record-breaking deal.
Yep. Absolutely. And then coming over from the Tigers to reunite with his old coach, Daniel Rioli.
Yeah, so obviously huge in, slots in straight into the half back. Best and fairest win at the Tigers just as he left. Clearly there's an idea of what Damien Hardwick is trying to do and is speed up the ball across the half back line, which Rioli will do and has in spades. It's a really good acquisition. 2 first rounders they got for him, so they hope that he can return big on investment in 2025.
All right, so looking at the Suns midfield now. So obviously Jared Witts slots straight into that first spot in the ruck, followed up by Matt Rowell, Touk Miller, Noah Anderson, and then on the wings, Will Graham and Sam Klahisi. So that everyone talks about the Sydney trio in the midfield in Warner, Gould, and Heaney, but the Suns is right up there, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. If they don't have a 1-2-3 punch like some of the other clubs in the competition, they definitely have some of the best 1-2s in Noah Anderson and Matt Rowell. These two have obviously played a lot of junior footy together at Carey Grammar and coming through, the junior days as well, and now at the Suns. Both of them complement each other really nicely. Rowell being a contested bull, Noah Anderson starting to add a bit of silkiness to his game and definitely some finishing skills in front of goal. But they both really do complement each other, which obviously helps having played together for so long. So it'll be interesting to see how Matt Rowell's contract negotiations go this year. He enters the last year of his deal. He's a Victorian. Victorian clubs will come hard for him. Expect Essendon, expect Collingwood to come really hard, even St Kilda as well, who are desperate need for a really good midfielder, or A-grade midfielder. But at the moment, on paper, he's at the Suns and he's kind of the focal point in that midfield.
All right, so looking at the forward line now. So another interesting one. So on the half forward, Bailey Humphrey, Jed Walter, Leo Lombard. And then in the full forward line, 3 Bens. Ben Long, Ben King, Ben Ainsworth. I love that.
The trio of Bens, as they call it. I'm not sure they actually do. But they're all definitely going to start in the Gold Coast starting lineup. You got Leo Lombard coming to the Suns with their first pick last year in the 2024 draft. Highly touted. He's going to slot straight into that forward line, quickly above all the other players that will be missing out, and we'll just touch on them a little bit later on, but he's a superstar. Bailey Humphrey's also one to watch this year for Suns fans. He's kind of got that Dustin Martin-esque game style about him, but just hasn't exploded as of yet, which does take a little bit of time in young players. So expect him to have a really big year this year. He might even be seen in the midfield at times, but definitely really getting involved in the scoring chains as well. And then not to mention the 2 Twin Towers, Jed Walter and Ben King. They'll probably be Gold Coast key forwards, hopefully for the next decade, especially for the Suns. But very exciting stuff with Jed Walter coming through the ranks as we speak.
And rounding out the 23, we have the bench. We have Ned Moyle, Nick Holman, John Noble, and Will Powell. And then David Swallow as the sub.
Yeah, well, I'll touch on Swallow firstly. Obviously, the experience, you can't, and the skill set that he has, you can't not have him in the side. But I think because given his age and maybe where the trend of the game is going, he probably is best suited to maybe half a game of football or a quarter and a little bit more. Other than that, John Noble, one of the big inclusions as well, kind of a Daniel Rioli type player, really bouncing off halfback from the Pies as he's done in the last few years, which Damien Hardwick is clearly keen on bringing into the club. Ned Moyle, he's ready to take over Jared Witz's number one spot. At the moment, we just think Witz does hold it, but Moyle has shown that he's more than capable of being the number one man as well.
All right, so pretty good-looking 23. Again, they're amazing on paper. Young forward line. A couple of omissions that might be worthy of note. So we'll start with Lachie Weller.
Yeah, so we've got Will Graham and Sam Claheisi on either wing. Weller has usually had that spot locked down in the past. He has had some injury battles throughout these years, especially as a Sun. But just given the fact of where these guys have come from, and I think Damien Hardwick has given the nod to them more often than not in 2024, we do see Weller just being sidelined initially, but that can change given, obviously injuries and other things as well. So keep an eye on Weller.
Yep. And another one, just Elliot Himmelberg coming across from the Crows, but not making the 23. Not straight in.
Nah, so we had Ned Moyle, I guess, in his position, kind of that second ruck, kind of backup forward. Himmelberg did play that role at the Crows, and I think not too bad as well, but given their strength there, he was always kind of on the outer. And we've kind of seen the same at the Gold Coast Suns as well, first up. But again, I think it'll be a raffle between Himmelberg and Moyle.
Good stuff. Thanks for that, Aidan. Let us know in the comments what you think of this best 23 for the Gold Coast Suns. Suns fans, let us know that you exist, for one, because not a lot of engagement from the Suns fans, and I can probably see why. But it's going to be an interesting year. We have lots of footy content coming your way, so subscribe to the YouTube channel. Jump in the comments, as I said, like the video, and catch all the latest AFL news at zerohanger.com.